who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, here with Tom Campbell, our creative guru.
Hello, Fenton.
And James St. James, our literary inspiration.
Oh my goodness, hello, I'm back.
We missed you so much.
Thank you, I missed you.
And moving on. Blake Jacobs.
Hi.
Still here, but behind the camera.
I'm back behind the camera.
We're in our Hollywood Boulevard adjacent studio. That's why if you hear helicopters in the background, it's the Academy Awards any moment now.
Oscar adjacent, just down the street.
Yeah, so they're just circling overhead. But here we are here to count down the top 10 things that made us go, wow. And what a week, as usual, right? That's what we say every week.
We never get a week off.
Tom, kick us off at number 10.
Number 10.
I have one thing to say. Fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
Oh, I know where we're going with this.
I don't know.
That is a famous line from the cult classic movie Heathers. Starring Winona Ryder and Christian Slater, Dan Water script. It's also, as of this week, a line from the new Paramount Network Reboot of Heathers as a TV series. And boy, is it controversial. And not because they say, fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
Do they say that?
They do.
Okay. Really?
Yes, it's an original line, and they actually put it in this thing.
Wow.
Okay, the original Heathers is about it's a very dark comedy,
Super dark,
about a girl who kills off her classmates.
Yes, but there was a clique of Heathers.
Yes,
and it was echoed on a season of RuPaul's Drag Race where the popular girls call themselves Heathers.
Yes,
so Heathers is sort of in the pop culture as these, and Shannon Doherty was in it as one of the Heathers. It was one of the first times we saw her, and it was about Christian Slater was JD, who is this sort of like dark character that comes in, who because they're kind of outsiders, Winona Ryder and he become friends, and then they think that they're kind of like joking, but he ends up killing her
all
enemies.
the Heathers, one after the other, one at a time. And one of the controversies, one of the problems that I have with this, and we'll get on to some of the other things that you and I have talked about, but the reasons why this is such a bad idea is that how
What did he say? It was a bad idea.
It's being.
It is a bad idea.
It's controversial.
And the reason why is how a dark comedy about killing classmates plays in this sort of post-Parkland world where you have all these school shootings, and there weren't school shootings in the 1980s, and it was sort of just a fantasy fun comedy, and now it's taken on this sort of really
the
dark
timing could not be worse
to have about kids killing kids at high school.
Yes, and then I didn't rewatch Heathers, although I remember it very well, but I was reading this through the description on Wiki, and it's dark.
Yeah,
it's really dark. There's a lot of murder, and it's schools, and there's bombs in the schools and things of that nature. Now that's all the old Heathers. The new Heathers, the big thing, and the thing that's as controversial, if not more, is the Heathers are no longer popular girls. There's a body positive, a plus size Heather.
There's a gay boy
who is
gender
fluid, queer,
a bitchy little gay boy, and they're the ones who rule the school now.
And there is a biracial lesbian,
and they're the murderers.
They're the popular kids.
They're the popular kids. So now the Winona Ryder character and the J.D. Slater character, who are, I don't want to, but it's such. Whatever, the actors don't seem to stand out as much as Winona Ryder and Christian Slater did, and they are now fighting. So now it's like the idea that the underkids, that the
underdogs are now
the social justice warriors, the SJWs, as the alt-right calls us,
right.
The snowflakes,
yes,
are making school horrible for everybody.
Oh, God.
And now we're going after them.
This is so wrong. In what way is this not wrong?
Well, everything about this is wrong, and the writing is wrong, and the everything about it. Because I watched a little bit of it, and the writing is it's so try hard. It's annoying, and the kids are annoying, and I hate all of them.
It misses on a bunch of levels. I didn't have to be mean. Thank you, James, for being mean for me. On the surface level, if I got the pitch, I don't know, but how everything gets twisted up. How in Wicked the mean witch is the good witch. Like, let's tell a retelling. Let's reboot it. Let's do it different. Let's make Archie sexy. All kind of stuff. But it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you laugh. So, you can get away with a lot if it makes you laugh. Drew
Drew Droege.
Drew Droege is one of the faculty members. He's kind of hilarious. The adults are kind of hilarious.
He's always the best in everything he does. You just plug him in somewhere and he does a great job.
And I mentioned it's on the Paramount Network. I don't know if everyone is up to speed that there's a new network in town.
Oh, it used to be Spike, right?
Right, Spike TV, which is part of the Viacom family, which is VH1 and MTV, and they're our good friends. They try to sell shows too. But they have rebranded as the Paramount Network because Paramount's part of Viacom.
Like General Entertainment Network.
And they want to be more general entertainment, more USA, I think, more big and broad. And they have a lot of programming coming, and it's going to be very exciting. This was one that the gays, because it is kind of a gay cult classic.
Yeah.
We were all very
forward
excited to see it. But the thing about these new networks when they pop up is very often in the very beginning they're trying out new things, and it takes 2 or 3 series before they really find their footing. And I have good feelings about the Paramount Network. And I think
that's nice.
I think that they're really good. I think it's going to be they're on the right track by trying to do gay programming and things like that. I just don't think that this was right coming on the heels of mass shooting.
Well, it doesn't have gunplay, to be fair, yet. And just the first episode, the reviews have been pretty brutal. There's a couple outlets that like it, but most of them who have seen up to like 5 or 6 episodes are like, because sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't get better. And the alt-right, like people that work for Milo, the unnameable, they're kind of into it. So just by association, not that we have to be red and blue.
All right. So
no, but some of the most brutal reviews have come from the gay outlets. From so that's sort of.
But I don't want to be like a social justice warrior that can't take a joke. But maybe the jokes aren't funny enough in this case.
Okay,
nope, not talk about it.
Don't watch the premiere episode online.
Check it out.
No, definitely check it out and have an opinion. Oh, breaking news! I see right now that Paramount is postponing Heathers and citing the Parkland shooting, and they've also taken it offline as well. They said in a statement that the darkly comedic show is a satirical comedy that takes creative risks in dealing with many of society's most challenging subjects, ranging from personal identity to race to socioeconomic status to gun violence. And while we stand firmly behind the show in light of the recent tragic events in Florida and out of respect for the victims, their families, and loved ones, we feel the right thing to do is to delay the premiere until later this year.
I think that's great.
I think they're doing the right thing.
You can watch, check out more on all these stories on the WoW Report.
Is that worldofwonder.net? Oh my gosh.
Jeez Louise, yes. James, what do you got for us at number 9?
Number 9.
Netflix documentary series.
Oh,
No.
Wait, did your Hulu run out? Did you just buy 1 month of Hulu?
That's it. I had a free month, and I jammed as much as I could in there. I watched a series called The Toys That We Had, and it's about the toys that we had growing up. And it's you said that we'd already done this before, and I went back and I checked, and there was a whole documentary on Barbie that I did one time, and that's where you're getting confused.
So now you're going to talk about Barbie.
No, I am going to talk about Barbie.
When in college classes they study our show in 20 or 30 years, they'll bring this up. But for right now, you can talk about anything you want, baby. I'm sorry, I threw you off.
You did throw me off.
Okay, rev up.
So there are 4 different episodes, and each episode is a different toy, okay? And the first episode is Star Wars, and we all know the story of how George Lucas had the wherewithal to retain the rights to the toys and everything like that. But there are some fun little facts that you didn't know, and that's like that when he took it around to Hasbro and Mattel, and everybody said no. Nobody wanted anything to do with it, because at the time, they weren't making toys out of movies. It was all Happy Days and Saturday morning cartoons and more.
And also worth pointing out is that even Fox thought the movie was going to be a bomb,
Yes,
so they didn't bother securing the merchandising rights. So George Lucas had them.
Yeah, so they had to go to a little toy factory in Indianapolis called Henner, and they were this little rinky-dink operation, and they were the ones who ended up getting this $100 million deal and ended up becoming jump frogging to the head of the pack, and it was sort of that's sort of a fascinating one. That's how it starts off. The second one is about Barbie, and the interesting thing about Barbie that I had no idea is that in the 1950s, it was the boys who had all the toys. They were the ones who had the rockets and the fire engines and the cowboys and Indians and everything like that. Right. And all girls had were dolls. Baby dolls. And the only thing that they could ever aspire to was being a mommy.
Yes.
And then Barbie came along, and that was the first time that girls could imagine themselves as doctors and CEOs and things like that.
So it was an empowerment tool.
It was an empowerment tool. And that's why they say that the women's lib started started happening in the 70s because it was that generation of girls who, for the first time, were able to see themselves as something more than mommies.
Well, my sister had Barbies in the 60s and 70s, and I do remember she went from being kind of a fashion model to like Barbie on the moon.
Yes,
and all that kind of stuff. My mother was hesitant to give my sister a Barbie as a little girl because she had such big boobs.
Oh, well,
She's
that
kind
was
of
it too.
mature.
Because I don't know if you know this, but the reason why Barbie looks the way she does is because the woman who created her went to the Netherlands and she saw a sex doll that was, and she brought it back and said, "This is the dimensions that I want Barbie to have."
In heaven, you were right.
It is true.
Right.
Well, because and then out of that came G.I. Joe, right?
Well, that's the next episode.
Okay.
And and the problem with G.I. Joe.
I just got my G.I. Joe and took his pants off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I sort of had a
That was
crush on
like-
G.I. Oh, I had a
Yes.
crush on Ken and Skipper. Not Skipper. Who was the Skipper's boyfriend?
Skipper's boyfriend was Tad.
Yeah, I like Tad.
What
Tad
do I know?
But with G.I. Joe, they had the opposite problem where the boys wouldn't play with dolls.
Yes.
And they had to put signs all over the office saying, "We are not creating a doll. This is not a
An
doll.
action figure.
If you call it a doll, you're going to be fired." And they had to come up with the term action figure, and that's the first time anybody ever had.
Fascinating.
Can I just dip into my memory? I had G.I. Joes, but they came out a little bit later, and they had real hair.
Yes, the real fur.
They had beards.
Yes,
They were 70s G.I. Joes.
bears.
I was so into them, and I would take their clothes off. The problem with the G.I. Joe is that you saw his bolts and stuff. Like he wasn't.
Yeah.
He looked
But he's
more like a
deconstructed.
marionette.
It's like
Well,
Universal
you were
Soldier.
much ahead of me.
No, and the reason why that is because the guy had seen one of those dolls that you get at the posing dolls for
Yes,
artists.
yes.
And
Oh.
he created it on that. The last one that I saw was on He-Man, and that's sort of interesting because that's Henner again, the company who did Star Wars. And they were just thinking, as Star Wars was ebbing, they were thinking we need a new hero. And so they came up with their own
Oh, so the merchandising
came
preceded
first.
there was right.
And then the comic book and everything came
I
after
love
that.
that.
But the fun thing about that is that there was a gap year between when they created the character based on the Frank Frazetta, those the big,
Yeah.
and when it came out. And so they had a whole year to sit around and doodle little backstories for everything. And that's when they came up with Eternia and all that and all the back and forth with Skeletor and She-Ra.
And She-Ra.
Yeah.
Were you a He-Man person?
I loved He-Man.
I had such a crush on
I
He-Man
was
too.
in
I used
college
to-
by then, I think.
I was too, but I still jerked
Still.
off to He-Man. Who didn't? I mean, Prince. What was his name?
I have no idea.
His alter ego with the
Prince,
with the Prince Valiant haircut. Oh, he was so cute. Oh my
so,
god.
stupid question. There've been He-Man movies.
Yes, well, there was. It was with Dolph Lundgren, if you remember.
85.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that
it
was a franchise that took off.
Well, it was a really bad movie, and they didn't
Right.
manage to stick to the story of the backstory, and they created their own.
Maybe the Paramount Network will reboot it.
Right. Could be
yeah.
right
Everything's
for
being rebooted.
reinvention. Okay, so the Toys We Had is now streaming on Netflix.
Is this a
and-
continuing series?
Yes,
Will there be more?
this is the first season.
Yep.
They're hoping to get a second
I'm
season.
going to spend a weekend watching this.
It's really fun. It's
I
a
think
really
they
good.
need to look at Toy Story and just pluck all those toys from Toy
That-
Story.
that
and
would be a
tell-
good one,
tell
too,
stories
yeah.
about it.
Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, definitely.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Have you ever thought about killing someone?
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
I know you're looking at me.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, I read. Do you ever look at Medium.com?
No, what's that?
It's a website set up by the guy who, one of the co-founders of Twitter, Evan Williams. He created Medium from the ground up with the idea of encouraging users to create posts longer than the 140 character limit. And it's an amazing site for writing. And James, you've got to read it. This story is incredible. It's by Rachel Monroe. It actually came out in 2015.
Okay.
But like sometimes the internet is timelessness itself. And so
yeah,
it just
everything old is new again.
Yes, it just
Plus,
popped up.
I hear the article is so long, it might take you 3 years to read it.
Well, it is a 39-minute read. That's a great thing about Medium, actually. They tell you how long it's going to take you to read the article. It's 39 minutes. This is an amazing true crime. I was going to say true crime, true story, but it is. In March of 2000, a park ranger found a body on the border near Texas and had been dead about 6 weeks. And what's odd about this body is it's just lying there, and it doesn't look like a murder scene. And Well, backtrack it. I mean, the story is so brilliantly told. I'm going to completely screw it up, but this kid, Mike Baker, 17 years old, fresh out of high school, he wants to get some cigarettes. He's with his girlfriend. His girlfriend said, "Oh, my friend Doc, who's in his 40s, he has an apartment. He has cigarettes. Come over. He gives me a key." And so he says, "Oh, okay, well, let's go get some cigarettes."
Sex thing?
So they go to the apartment. Doc's not there. They get the cigarettes, and then Doc arrives. And one of the first things Doc says to Mike Baker is, "Have you ever thought about killing someone?"
Oh, that's for strangers on a train.
Long story short, he is very into LSD, nitrous oxide, coke, mushrooms, weed, Ambien, faces of death. He's a medical student. He's in his 40s, has S&M fantasies.
As we all do.
He puts the make on Mike, who resists because Mike is straight. Gorgeous young kid.
Yeah. But you wanted the cigarettes, so you got to give something.
Turns out he wants Mike to kill him.
Oh.
And his fetish is... Oh, what is the name of this fetish? It's an amazing... It's a hard... It's...
Necrosexual.
Autassassinophilia.
Autassassinophilia. I want to name my next cat that.
And do you remember that German cannibal who posted along
I
the
remember
internet
that.
looking for a well-built 18 to 30?
To eat them, yes.
Yes, and he did, and he went to prison for it. Well, by the way,
You guys talk about things like they're so matter of fact.
but you know that. Well, you know the twist of that. He's now in prison. That German cannibal.
Yes.
and he's a vegetarian. Did you know that?
No, I did not. Oh.
Anyway, back to
That'll
the story.
turn ya.
So, but here's what is, James. This is. I swear to you,
my alley.
you've got to write the book of this story because Doc had decided it's more complicated. He wanted to be filmed as he was staked down into the ground and cut open. So he wanted to be his very own face of death caught on camera. And he was worried, Doc was worried, that if he ever found anyone to do this murder, that once they got out into the desert and everything, that the murderer would chicken out. That he'd maybe just hit him on the head or something, right? So what he did was, he said, "If you do it for me, I'll give you $2,000. And the $2,000 is in my locked mailbox. And here is the key to my
it's
locked
in my
mailbox."
stomach. I'm going to swallow it. Yeah, so you've got
Swallowing the
That's
key.
very Saw, isn't
So
it?
he swallowed the key. I know, right? So he swallowed the key.
I
They go
love
out
it.
to the desert. And of course, indeed, Mike, who's a reasonable, nice guy, can't go through with it. But for some reason, and this is where you have to write this book, he decides that he'll just hit him on the head with a spade. And he does that as hard as he can, no effect. So they have to give up. They drive back into San Antonio. The guy's bleeding from the head, and they're just cross with each other.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So they try again. I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it is so bizarrely gorgeous. So try again. You go out. Doc digs the grave and says, "Right, I'm ready to be, sliced open." Mike says, "Sorry, I'm not going to do that." And what Mike then does is get a piece of rope and strangle him. And then he leaves him there. He strangles him, kills him. And it turns out
Did he
when
bury
he gets
them,
back
or-
to the apartment, he had a spare key all along. And he promised him this time $4,000 if he committed the murder. But he got back to
Still
the
doesn't seem
apartment,
like a lot.
and it was only $1,000 in the apartment. So there, the whole story would have ended. But the other part of the article is about the sort of detective, the way they hunt down Mike, and Mike is now in prison for murder.
When he knocked him over the head, or when he strangled him, and he had already dug his own grave, did he put him in the grave and bury him back up, or did he leave him out in the
he put him in the
open?
grave, and Mike didn't want to, having created this elaborate scenario, he didn't want to be just left to be eaten by coyotes. So he had him bring chicken wire so that it put him in the grave and then put chicken wire over the grave so the grave itself would be inviolable. All this after, in theory, being cut open and filmed. So it's like, it's just so strange.
Who wants to be cut open? That seems so painful.
Exactly.
I think you spend too much time watching Netflix, but I think it's a better use of your time than this guy thinking about the fish wire. Can I just give you the moral of the story?
Yeah, what is it?
Kids don't smoke.
Well, right.
It leads
It's
to
that
bad
thing of like sort of directionless teenagers hanging out with this cool guy. Yeah. It's like
Well, we always
just
know you should never hang out with the
candy
old
from
pervies.
strangers.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've linked the article on the Wow Report, worldofwonder.net.
That's a wow.
And that's I promise you, 39 minutes. Well, I was going to say well spent. It is a fascinating read. It's by Rachel Monroe and on medium.com where there's so many interesting articles. So we're going to take a quick break. So that means it's time for our trivial question.
I love that.
Blake, what have you got for us?
What did Time magazine in 2014?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Blake was not prepared to give us the question, but we'll give him take two.
What did Time magazine? What toy did Time magazine call in 2014 the most influential toy of all time?
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM, and we'll have the answer after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Okay, welcome back to the Wow Report. We are counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow. This week, I'm here with, as we do this, wow, they get more and more sort of flat.
I just don't want to, I think sometimes they're too loud.
You don't want to
I'm trying give them
overperk.
Yeah.
Am I too loud?
No,
Is
I
that
think
what
you
it
were
is?
perfect. No.
Okay.
I wasn't that bad, yeah.
We missed you so much. We're here with Jane St. James and Tom Campbell and Blake Jacobs.
Hi.
Blake's wow last week was amazing. Thanks again, Blake.
They're all
They
of
were so
it.
sexy and hot. So the question before the break, because James has been watching Netflix for a change, is what toy, right, in 2014...
Did Time name as the most influential of all time?
I'm going to guess because I don't know. It must be Barbie, right? I mean...
Man, I'm going to say Mrs. Beasley.
From Family Affair.
Yes, it really changed my life.
That tickles the memory banks. I'm going to say, for no good reason, the Frisbee.
Oh,
that's good.
What's the answer?
Oh, Pet Rock. I'm changing my answer. Pet Rock.
Not a toy.
The answer is Lego.
God.
Barbie
Your
was
whole house is
My whole
filled
house,
with Lego.
I live in a Lego house.
Barbie was number 2.
I wonder what made Lego so special.
Oh, come on, James. You're not a Lego baby?
Well, I was a Lincoln Logs baby. I was a little before.
We were a
that.
little Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
You were not before Lego.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's carry on with our scintillating countdown. We've reached number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
Barbra Streisand.
That's it. There we go.
Moving on.
wanted to keep things the way they were.
Oh, dear.
I'm stealing that.
Oh,
I'm
how
totally
many
stole
do we
that.
have?
I stole that. I'm going to let you guys think of puns. But Barbra Streisand, who's back, she's hot. I'm going to see her at
Tom,
the...
enough is enough.
At the Paley... Thank you. At the Paley Center.
How much
I got
is-
tickets. I'm going to see Barbra Streisand talk about life. She has this huge Variety article about being a woman and this Me Too thing and beating the old boys club. But the only thing that's getting picked up in this article, God bless you, Barbara, because we've heard about the tragedy surrounding Yentl not getting nominated, is the fact that she has cloned her dog that passed away last year, maybe Sadie, I don't know, they all have names like that, to make 2 new dogs.
Oh, she got 2 for 1.
Yeah, Miss
Violet.
Violet, and Miss
Scarlet.
Miss Scarlet, yes. And she dresses them in purple and red, right?
Yes, and lavender and red to tell them apart. The dogs are created from mouth and stomach cells taken from Samantha before she passed. And boy, oh boy, it costs something like $50,000.
I was going to say, how much is that dog in the window?
But the thing about a cloned dog is that it looks like the old dog, but it doesn't act like the old dog.
Well, it goes back to the age-old questions of nature versus nurture.
Is the dog the same?
It supposedly will look the same, but its behavior will not. Because she sort of has a quote like, "I hope it has her blue eyes and her serious point of view." And she's such a good Barbara. It's just any excuse to talk about her. But and it costs $50,000. You sell your animals. You send them your frozen cells, and they clone your pet. But cats, good news, everybody. Cats supposedly are 50% less. It's only $25,000 to clone your cat.
Oh dear!
Oh, no.
You're using your 401k money
Now,
to clone your
yeah.
cats.
Now this is talk about the social justice warriors.
I was gonna say, because the thing about this, first of all, I mean, if you're rich enough to do it, why not? If you really want it.
Well,
But
that's the President Trump's should be his slogan for 2020. If you're rich enough to do it, why not?
But the thing is there are enough cats and dogs in.
That's the thing. PETA came out and they're just
saying
like,
that they're,
what the fuck?
We've got enough that need to be adopted, enough in shelters that it's a little selfish
You know how
of you to do
people are
this.
against puppy mills. I mean, this is like puppy mills times 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like we're going to save your same cat. Now I get it because I love my pets, but isn't it good to bring in other pets into the
You
world?
have to let go, right? You can't hold on. It's a little creepy. It's like that play, The Monkey's Paw, when their son dies in some horrible accident and they want their
bring
son
him
back.
back.
And there's a magic monkey's paw and the son comes back, but his head is all gashed open. Isn't it like that? Like, it's like you can't
Well, Pet
have
Cemetery.
the
Pet Cemetery.
That-
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's the reason why you shouldn't be doing
Shame
it.
on you,
Yeah.
Barbra.
So,
But she could be pushing frontiers of science forward, right? Someone's got to do it.
And she said, I mean, it is legal. She's not breaking the law.
And
she has the money to experiment. And she, supposedly, according to the Variety article, she suggested that the picture that she has of her, a perfect picture of her with the 2 dogs, she suggested the caption, "Send in the clones."
Yes.
So she has a sense of humor about it. But it's kind of shocking. And
it would be fine if she did it, but for every one that she did, she rescued 2 other dogs. Like she has the money to have like 20 dogs, so she can do 2 clones and then 10 rescue dogs. That's how you do it.
I'm sure, Barbara, if you were listening, you still are. She's like, I love to hear people talk about me and how bad I am. But
the article was written by our friend Seth Abramovich, wasn't it?
Oh, was it for the Variety?
Mm-hmm.
But they
and she was very upset because apparently he said that she didn't want that she was unhappy or she was miscast in Hello Dolly. Or she said the article said he was miscast.
I can do it. Okay. In the printed version, he misunderstood her, and it comes off that she felt she was miscast for Funny Girl, that she was too old and she regretted it. But in fact, she was miscast, she thought, in Hello Dolly. Which is, we have to be super gay to know the difference here. So the printed version is wrong. It's been fixed online, and Miss Streisand on her Instagram and her Twitter, she put out the correction.
And Seth responded saying, "If I believed it was my fault, I will throw myself off a cliff." And for you, Barbra, and I apologize.
She
so
has
much.
a cliff at her Malibu home.
and he's driving there right now.
She has 2 clone dogs, a cliff, and anyway.
Well, you can read more about War of the Clones on the Wow Report. James, what do you got number 6?
Number 6.
I went to go see Game.
Sounds of people being
We're
murdered.
here at Hollywood Boulevard.
It's
There's
noisy.
some
It's
screaming.
authentic.
We're hoping it's happy screaming.
This is reality radio, people. This is authentic
I don't know that
sound.
they can hear it, but we can. Okay.
Can you hear it? Okay.
No.
Anyway,
It's like, no.
I went to go see Game Night over the weekend. I think I am the only person on the planet who can say that they have not seen Black Panther, but they've seen Game Night.
Yeah.
Because there was
What
like
happened?
there were like 10,000 people in line for Black.
Still.
Yes, and I went straight to the head of the line.
Excuse me, pardon me, excuse
Soared
me.
right in. I was the only person in the movie theater at Game Night. It's a perfectly pleasant way to while away a Saturday afternoon. It's Jason Bateman, who
It's funny, right?
We love Jason Bateman. He's
Cute,
sort
funny.
of he's sort of a cut rate Tom Hanks.
I love Jason Bateman.
No. But he's carved out this niche for himself where he's sort of an everyman in the way that Tom
Yes.
Hanks was in the 80s and 90s.
But he's got more edge and more snark.
But he does, and that's the interesting thing. And the other interesting thing is that he produces all of these movies: Horrible Bosses, Game Night, Office Christmas Party,
Yeah.
and they do just well enough that he gets to keep doing.
Yes.
Is he the sort of Adam Sandler of this genre?
He produces.
Oh, come on, Adam Sandler's good too.
Well, not
was.
good, but profitable.
Viable, I
and,
think.
and he always assembles these really killer casts. He always gets his BFF Jennifer Aniston to be in his movies. And this movie has Rachel McAdams, Kyle Chandler, my boyfriend Billy Magnuson, who I have gone on and on and on about on this show, Jesse Plemons, who is known on the internet as Meth Damon. You know, because he looks like Matt Damon, but like a Faces of Meth version.
So
He was
good.
on Breaking
Damon.
Bad. Chelsea Peretti is in this.
I love Chelsea Peretti.
Danny Houston, Michael C. Hall. He gets these really good
Great cast.
It's a really great cast. That the idea is that it is a bunch of friends and they get together every week for game night. And who's his name? Jason's more successful older brother comes, Kyle Chandler, and everybody's really jealous of him. And he says that they're going to play like a murder mystery type game in which someone is going to get kidnapped and you have to solve the problem by the end of the night. And whoever does it wins this car.
Right.
Well, it turns out that he really does get kidnapped by real kidnappers, but they all think that they're playing a game. And so the comedy ensues when they're going after the real kidnappers, but they don't realize, they think it's all just a game and blah, 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 blah. But it's
it's a good premise.
It's a good premise, and
there's a lot of murder.
You saw it.
No.
Oh,
There's a lot of murder in our stories this week. But I keep going.
Yeah, but it's these movies are all really good. Just sort of like Saturday afternoon, like it's going to be on TNT, like 10 times a day.
Is it a Paramount picture? Might it be in the Paramount Network?
I don't know, but if you can't get into Black Panther,
well, what is your strategy for seeing Black Panther? How long is this going to continue?
I don't know.
Can James leave the office early today? He needs to see Black Panther.
Please, I know. I really need to see it.
So sizzling hot.
And the fashions, I know, and the women and Michael
B. Jordan.
B. Jordan.
As much as you've heard the hype, I believe it will live up to it.
I know. There's no way I can not.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were doing last week when you went on the show.
I don't know what I was doing last week.
You were grumpy.
Well, game night is in theaters
All
now.
of you. I'll show you grumpy. God damn it.
Number 5.
Number 5.
So last week I was in San Francisco doing a little filming, and I went to this thing called Photo Fair San Francisco. It's like there's this sort of trend of, art fairs are this new big thing, but there's also photo fairs, and they go around the country, and they have photography, and I kind of like photography. So I met this artist called Mishka Henner, yeah. And he was, I was like walking around, and then, sometimes when you're at something and you see a sort of group of people and someone's leading them and talking knowledgeably, you sort of just like snuggle up and just join in and just follow on. So I just sort of dropped in, and he was talking about his work. And there's lots of really interesting ways. He's a great artist, Mishka Henner, but he's got this series called the Golden Ratio series, which is, it's kind of hard to explain, but he started off by doing a painting $0, a $0 painting. It's just a painting of a dollar sign with zero. Because
it's like a graphic almost.
It's almost like a graphic, like one of those posters you'd see, because his concept was, he was interested in an experiment to study value creation in art. Oh, James.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, do you want to get that?
Oh my God.
It's his date for Black Panther.
He was doing this experiment because he was like, one of the fascinating things that gets me about contemporary art is, Andy Warhol, $105 million for, electric chairs, or,
then there'll be new artists that come out that you've never heard of that all of a sudden leapfrog into the $100,000.
So how does a painting that's one day worth nothing suddenly become worth tens of millions of dollars? And so he decided he'd paint a painting of a $0. And then, which he gave to his wife, which is nice, then he painted a painting of $1. And then he painted another painting of $1. And now
but they're
this
not dollars.
point,
it's just two, right?
yeah, it's just a number. Yes,
yeah.
We'll post the pictures online so you can see on the Wow Report. But then his principle is the golden ratio. And the golden ratio basically is you take the two previous numbers to arrive at the new number. So once he painted a picture of two $1 pictures, that means the next picture he has to paint is $2, and he sold that picture for $2. Then, having sold that picture, he painted a $3 picture because 2 + 1 is 3. Then, you know where I'm going with this, right?
He's going up to $1 million.
Yeah, you go 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and it quickly escalates. Now he's reached.
But there are really people who buy into this, and they will.
He doesn't paint another picture until he's sold the one at the face value of what it says. He's up to 10,946.
And he's just painting 10,946 on a piece of paper.
The numbers, the numerals. Yes.
And that's what he sells it for.
But here's what's so genius. He is creating a market because suddenly collectors want the $0 painting, and the $1 painting is now selling for thousands of dollars.
But of course,
he is creating a microcosm, a replication of the art market, which is fascinating because it, too, seems to behave roughly along the lines of the golden ratio, which he says the golden ratio is like, it's what gives shells their shape, it's fractals, it's It's ferns.
Might I interject here, though, and say...
the fruit spouts of a pineapple. It's the flowering of archie. Oh, it's this sort of natural order of things. Yes, please.
Don't deny James's interjection. Go ahead.
I was reading an article about the emerald market, which is sort of similar in that emeralds really aren't like the gold standard or diamond standard. The emeralds are basically whatever anyone will pay for them. So you can have an emerald necklace and say that it's $20 million, and if someone is willing to pay $20 million, then that's how much it's worth.
Right.
And that's sort of what you're saying is about this.
The art market is an artificially created thing, but he has succeeded, quite apart from his own career as an artist, he has succeeded in creating from zero an $11,000 painting. But it's great because it's an ongoing series. The next one is 17,000, then 28,000, 46,000, 75,000. You get the idea.
But isn't this a bit like the tulip market in the 1700s, where it's all based on absolutely nothing and it can collapse at any minute, and you might buy the $20,000 one, and tomorrow everyone is going to wake up and say it's the emperor's new clothes.
But that's exactly
and
what
if I understood Bitcoin, I'd say it's like Bitcoin.
Yes.
I don't understand Bitcoin.
You just got to keep it going so that the person who buys the 10,000...
It's a pyramid scheme.
It's somewhat.
But are you going to buy a $10,000 one and then be left with a piece of paper that says $10,000 on it?
Well, you see, at the same time, he's becoming a successful artist, and these other paintings in the series, the $1, the $2, the $5, they're selling for thousands of dollars. So the likelihood of a complete collapse, yes, if the entire contemporary art market or the emerald market collapses, sure, things change. But this is the way things grow. And he's sort of saying, pointing out in a way, this is natural. This is the way things grow.
But I do wonder if the art market, though, is similar, because we have instances of people like Mark Kostabi or someone who went way up, and then the Emperor's New Clothes kicked in and they went way down.
Well, there's mutations and everything, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's not guaranteed.
I do hope you bring in your picture of $10,000.
I hope you get zero.
I'm going to start making my own. I think I'm going to do it with cans. I'm going to do it with a $0 can.
I like
something
it.
like that.
I love it.
So, okay, we've got to take a quick break. Here's our question.
Okay.
What, and this is too easy, so I've got a backup question. What is the most expensive painting in the world?
I think I know.
That's the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
I don't know.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. We're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow!
Oh, that's fast sound I like to hear. So I'm here with Tom and James and Blake. Before the break, we were talking about Mishka, this artist who's created value out of nothing, the alchemical magic. And so we asked the question, like, what is the most valuable painting in the world?
And but I don't know. But I'm thinking there was that Da Vinci painting that just sold that was really expensive.
Yes.
But there's also like the iris, like Van Gogh's irises. There's
But then
Monet's.
also there was the Jean-Michel Basquiat, remember, that went over 100 million, and there's a Warhol that went over 100 million.
It was that newly discovered Da Vinci.
I'm going to go with that too, yeah.
And you go with that too?
Yep.
It's just, you know what's amazing? It isn't, they think it's Leonardo da Vinci. It may not actually even be, but it sold for $500 billion.
Well, it actually has $500 million written in the back. If you look
That's how he did it.
And you win.
Okay, so what is the second most expensive painting in the world?
Van Gogh's Starry Night.
Nope. This really surprised William de Kooning.
I was going to say the Klimt that just sold for...
That's quite up there. 300 million is that. And actually Warhol, I thought Warhol would be in the top 5, but his Silver Car Crash was 105 million, and that's only in the top 30. It's only just in the top 30.
Huh.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
All right, so let's carry on counting down. What have we got, Tom? Number 4.
Number 4.
Well, this made me go wow, because this is some bad news. Some very bad news from someone sitting at this table.
I hope you're sitting down.
I hope you're sitting down, Standing desks
Oh, here we go.
which are all the rage in America. And there's a lot of companies that kind of willy-nilly just decided, let's raise the desks. Here at World of Wonder, co-founder Fenton Bailey thought, and Fenton and Randy both have treadmill desks.
Yes.
And
Not just
by the
a
way,
standing desk.
That ain't ever gonna happen with
But
me. I'm
look
sorry.
at Fenton, the svelte, beautiful Fenton, and then look at the people who do not have them. And I'm sorry to drag you down with me.
Well, no, but I want to say that this is on the heels, if you recall, a few years ago, before the standing desk, everyone at World of Wonder, it was the ball.
Yes,
Everyone had to sit on the
sitting a
damn
ball.
ball.
We tried.
And everybody got the ball, and it was like we all fell off it and broke our bones.
Yes.
And they
But,
realized it was lawsuits
You know,
happening.
They were saying that sitting, the studies go back and forth, but sitting was like the new smoking.
Yes,
it
yes.
kills you. But think about it for a minute.
Sitting is the new crack.
Because this new study came out in England, and they said that standing desks increase bodily pain and slow down people's cognitive functions at work. Which sounds like the last couple of years here at World of Wonder, if you ask me. No, but think about it for a minute.
Well, you think
Suddenly-
about nurses and people in
Yes!
retail, and they have bone spurs,
Think
and
about when you were a waiter or you
Oh,
were
and
like,
every-
had to work at a counter or
and nobody
register.
wanted to stand all. Nobody wants to stand all day because that's a sign
suddenly-
that you are. Yeah.
Our parents paid thousands of dollars. We go to college
So that we don't
get a
have to
desk job and
stand.
they
We
make
can-
us stand
Did Neanderthal man sit around all day in his caves? No, he went out hunting and fishing. He was a hunter-gatherer.
And then he invented the desk.
Yes, thank God we've come a
that
little.
was his first mistake.
It's just the idea that lower back pain.
Oh my! I have it. Just thinking about it.
Swelling of the veins.
Oh, thrombosis.
Like we should probably have those orthopedic nurse shoes. We should all wear those white nurse shoes.
Yes. When you
Yes.
walk
You're
in.
supposed to walk 10,000 steps a day. Because I just got a Fitbit and I'm set
Yeah.
like 10,000 steps a day.
Well,
Like, how are you going to do that?
The
so
co-founders-
basically,
the
whatever
co-founders
Fenton
have
does,
desks.
that-
we don't have any we don't have any walking. We're just standing there, leaning on our desk.
Please make it
Why can't I
end.
figure out the simple problem? 2 + 2 equals, I don't know, my back, the veins in my leg. Now, in fairness, we do have big, tall bar chairs at our standing desks, which
thank you.
everybody uses.
Yes.
And now, because I'm so plump, to try to get through, there's this whole, I don't know, I try to get through the chairs. You ever tried to cross the office? We have all these assistants at desks with these standing chairs, and you try to have to go all the way down the office and around. Just want to cut across, and it's like, I'm not fit enough.
I just need to set the record straight. If you want to sit at a desk, you can sit at a desk. It was requests. People requested
It
standing.
was
No, but we
shaming.
were guilted into. If
No,
you didn't,
when
by God.
we have sort of an open floor plan, you can see people. We have cubicles and things. But when you walk down, and everyone was getting their desks risen, so it'd be like up.
Well, wait.
and then
I
it'd be
want to
like,
say that I am the only person.
here.
I'm the only person in my cubicle that does not have a raised desk, and I am shamed every time people come in and
No.
say, "What is wrong with you, you lazy
Print
fuck?"
this article. You are going to outlive all of us. You're going to miss us. You're going to be like, it's
Doing
time
the
to
show
go.
on your own.
Will someone kill me? It's time to go. Everyone at World of Wonder at their standing desk has died a horrible below the waist
2060
life.
and you're gonna be,
And just the happy thing and damn common sense. But they basically tell you, don't sit all day. Get up and make a cup of coffee or tea. Don't just stand there. And I have to say, Theron, who works here, we mention often, who's the love of all of our lives, he encourages us, me anyway, and all of us are like, let's go out, let's get a cup of coffee. And then he encourages us to take a big loop around the block, which sounds like we're
It's
not being
an office, for God's sake.
sounds like we're not being productive.
I was gonna
Uh-oh.
say that's
never
not
happens
quite
anymore.
what's going
Get
on
me,
in Theron's
Theron.
mind. He's-
No, but a little air. We put
It's
in long
true.
hours.
And
It's
then
true.
Theron will eat like 2 pizzas at night.
Oh, don't judge people who eat pizza.
I tell you why I love the
night.
standing desk. It makes me get up and walk around more. Well, not get up because I'm already up, but I walk around. I go and see people and say, Tom, what about this?
Because you get a little restless.
James,
I know.
What about that?
I want to get you a chair.
I feel I'm more. I know you love to see me.
Oh, it's Fenton. Everyone.
look
off
alert.
your chairs. Cognitive. Can't think.
We've linked to this article, this false article, this shameful article, this libelous article on the Wow Report. Okay, James, number 3.
Number 3.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! They killed Carl. Carl. They killed Carl.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, it is a spoiler. On Walking Dead, they killed Carl.
It's a zombie show. You're supposed to kill people.
Well, no, here's the thing. Well, let's just start from the beginning here, because Walking Dead is ostensibly about life after the zombie apocalypse, okay? But that's not really what the story is. Because after the first season, there are zombies, but they're just sort of a distraction, and you just have to knock them in the head, and then you go on with your day. The real story of Walking Dead is the groups of people and the interactions and the power struggles of the survivors, and it's
has society broken down?
Society is there is no society anymore. There are factions of people, and there's Rick and his group of people, and they're the good guys, and then there are all the evil groups out there that are trying to take over the world and take over everybody and kill everybody.
Very tribal.
So it's really not about zombies anymore. Okay,
Just about America today.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's a very much so. It's very much about a dystopian Trumpian. There's like authoritarian figures and dictators and everything like that.
For the first time ever, I'm curious to watch the show continue.
It really is interesting.
'cause that was a zombie show.
Guy down like
Unfortunately, it's in the 8th season, and a lot of people are dropping off from it. They're saying that it's a little slow. It isn't. I think it's as good as anything that's ever been on television. I think it's up there with Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and The Wire. It's really
RuPaul's
really
Drag Race.
RuPaul's Drag Race is that good. Unfortunately, the last couple of seasons have been relentlessly grim. I mean, torture porn.
There's not enough joy.
No. There's not one moment of levity in the 2 or 3 seasons lately. It is this man Negan has taken over, and he's just sort of this
what?
Trumpian Negan.
That's the guy.
That's
character.
his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he is the leader of this
I thought
group.
it was a
and
Negan, like vegan.
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Shh, I'll be quiet.
Anyway, Carl, the whole point is that Rick is leading this group of people to a better world, and that's what he's doing, and he's doing it for his son Carl. And over the last 8 seasons, we have seen Carl, who started off as 10 years old, and he's 18 years old now. We've grown up with him, and the whole purpose of the show is that he's building this world for his son.
He's the future.
He is the future, yes. And Chandler Riggs, God bless him, he's the guy who plays Carl. He's the worst little actor on the planet, but endearingly so, and he gets so much internet hate. Everyone always hates him. He wears his daddy's hat and his cowboy hat, and it was too big, like 20 sizes too big, and now he's grown into it, and it's just this wonderful thing.
But he's dead.
Well, the end of last season, he was bitten by a zombie, and that's that thing where, as I'm saying, the zombies aren't really a problem. The zombies uprise.
Is there a
everyone's-
cure for a zombie bite?
There's no cure for a zombie bite. You turn into a zombie within 24 hours, and you have to be stabbed in the head and in the skull to not be turned into a zombie. So for Carl, after 8 fucking seasons of living in this world, and everything is for Carl, and then he gets bitten by a zombie. It just seems like such a kick in the pants to the actor, to the fans, and the whole
I thought
episode.
he had no fans. You said everyone hates him.
Well, the fans of the show.
Love to hate. Was he hiking in tall grass and he didn't
Yes,
see
how did he
a
get
zombie and he
bitten?
got bitten?
No,
How did that happen?
he had made a new friend. He found a boy, a little Muslim boy, and
was a zombie.
No, who was killing in the name of his mother, who said go out there and kill all of the zombies and make this world. And so he was helping
so
his friend out. They were
he
out
was-
killing zombies for fun, and one of the zombies accidentally bit him in the stomach.
Moral of the story, kids, don't go out and kill zombies for fun.
Right, and don't go over to Doc's place.
But I did. I
Do you think
sobbed.
there's a twist? Do you think that he's going to come back and
Yeah.
be resurrected?
No. He's dead. He's gone.
Do
And
the zombie
actors-
characters come back as once you've been zombified? Do
Yeah.
they come back and be starring zombies?
No. What usually
Got you.
happens is if somebody gets bit, and then you'll see them in the distance, and you'll see a zombie, and you'll be like, you realize that was the character that you loved, and they sort of shuffle off.
You
and
know
then-
what I think you need? You need a series that's told from the point of view of the zombies, that's empathetic to the zombies.
Well,
and
there
the
i-
zombies are being killed off by these hideous humans.
There was that great zombie love story a few years ago with Nicholas Hoult, where do you remember that? And it was there was a zombie apocalypse, but the zombies still had some humanity, and he fell in love with a girl, and the girl was able to bring the humanity back out of the zombie. It was
and
really
eating, while eating him.
I want to hold your hand, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
but anyway, I cried. I cried the next morning when I woke up. I had a little sob in bed over Carl. It was just, I wanted to cry here. I wanted to show
Don't
you,
cry. I
you
wanna
that,
see
that
it.
I'm
I wanna
not
see
this.
real tears.
Ignore Fenton's story and just work up your cry. Just get into like a method
There are
acting
things
thing.
ahead that will make you cry, I promise, before the day is out. Okay, number 2.
Number 2.
Madonna.
Oh, I thought we were talking about
Yeah, the phone.
No,
Evita?
the woman, the Monica Lewinsky. I was like, I just
Yes, we'll get there. Spoiler alert. We're talking about Madonna's Ray of Light.
Oh, for
20
God's
years,
sake. Oh.
20 years ago. An amazing album. Come on,
No, but
James.
I'm a bitter Betty, much like you. And when I first hear, we're talking about Madonna, it's Ray of Light, it was 20 years ago, I'm thinking there was one good song on that thing. It's not true.
It's not true. There's 3.
Frozen.
I played the album again, and it's
Okay.
kind of amazing.
Frozen, Ray of Light.
Nothing really matters.
Oh, nothing.
Power of Goodbye.
I don't know that one.
Drowned World Substitute for Love.
Yeah, that's okay.
Swim.
But it was an
Yeah.
album. You could listen to it, I thought, like from beginning to end.
It is an amazing album.
Well, it was
And
one of the last times that she worked completely with one person, right? William Orbit, and they crafted the entire sound.
I mean, William Orbit crafted
Yeah.
the entire sound. The sound of Frozen is haunting to this day. I don't know what magic he pulled out of what orifice. It is just amazing. And but funnily enough, the thing about Madonna is her lyrics are often so egocentric. It's like, give yourself to me, give it up, do as I say. It's like I. But somehow in this album, all that gets transcended. And Ray of Light is amazing. Now, what I didn't know is that Ray of Light, there is actually a earlier iteration of Ray of Light, and it was a folk song from the 70s. And it's basically, the verse is exactly the same. It's just been
Zephyr in the
modernized.
sky.
Yes. The song is called Zephyrin in the Sky at Night. An English singer whose uncle, William Orbit originally demoed it with Christine Leach, and her uncle was Dave Curtis, who was one half of Curtis Muldoon, an overlooked folk duo that released a pair of unsuccessful albums on Deep Purple's label in the early 70s. And Zephyrin it's basically Ray of Light, and it's amazing to hear. And this isn't to say no one was ripped off, they all got the songwriting credits, blah, blah, blah.
It's genius.
But it's an amazing evolution of a ballad and a song.
What's also an amazing evolution of Madonna, where
Yes.
she had gone from bedtime stories, which was sort of
blah.
a bit blah, and then she had become a mother,
Yes.
and she had done Evita, and so her career was sort of as an adult contemporary,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden this thrust her right back into the kid zone.
Kabbalah.
Her best-selling album, I think did it win Grammys?
It was her third best-selling album worldwide after True Blue and Like a Virgin.
Okay.
Sold 16 million, yes, and it won 4 Grammys.
But exactly what James is like. Most artists have, especially women,
Yeah,
have that shelf life. They last, if they're huge stars, they last 5, 10, 15 years. And she was into adult contemporary. She was doing slow things. She's also into Kabbalah at this time really
Yes,
heavily,
yes.
which I think maybe speaks to some of the I missing. And it really kept her going because you think there was that. Then there was music in 2000.
Well, that was amazing.
Then there was Confessions on the Dance
Which
Floor
I think
in
to me is-
2005.
But
Well,
you
now
skipped
you're
American
losing
Life.
me, 'cause
Oh,
now-
sorry. Come on.
TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
You skipped American Life, which was horrible in 2003.
Okay.
Is that 4 minutes?
You've got it. No,
No,
that
that's-
was
That was I do yoga and Pilates.
Everybody comes to Hollywood.
I kind
Yeah.
of like that too.
There's some good songs.
She said, Madonna said, I feel a sense of responsibility because my consciousness has been raised and I would like to impart the wisdom I have to others.
Now, I did just read an article about Madonna about this, and she was saying that that she recorded "Swim" the day that Donatella called her to tell her that Versace had died, and that she went into it crying and sobbing, and that really infused the song with the emotion that it has. So if you listen to "Swim" again,
And 9 of those songs were written in 10 days, which is pretty amazing.
yeah,
But it's so
it's got the
easy
flow.
to stream or listen to music. Do yourself a favor and
Yes.
listen to the entire album beginning to end, Madonna, Ray of Light.
And I will just add that she is recognized as the world's best-selling female recording artist of all time by the Guinness Book of Records.
Go Madonna, Madonna, Madonna.
Okay. We have to take a quick break, and when we come back to Resistor of the Week, and we reveal the number one thing that made us go, wow! So Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Oh, right.
And I've kind of put them in order of, the way they would do it on.
All right. How does this?
You say envelope, please.
Oh, okay.
Best director isn't first. Best director
wanna
is
do
second
best
to
director?
last.
Do we have
It
best
goes best
supporting?
supporting actress, best supporting actor, then best actor, best actress, then best director, then best picture.
And because I'm dense, what's in these envelopes?
What our choice, what we've said.
Right. I think you should read them out.
Will you hand it to me?
No.
And the envelope, please.
Well, why did you put best director?
I just took that out because we don't have a lot. Wait, should we
Is
do
it a
that?
consensus sort of thing, or is it like
We voted, and this is
Right.
ours, so we're down the street. I'll do this setup.
Okay, good, because I'm gonna fuck it up.
That's fine.
And I'll look.
I thought you said to hand it to you.
Envelope, please. That's fine. I'm not going to get into that. We're just going to think.
Well, I think we should get into it. This is they can edit us down if it goes over.
But I'm not going to confuse people by how we voted, whether we thought it was going to win or what we wanted to win. We're just going to say that our own
I see.
Oscar ballots. This
see.
is the Wow Report's Oscars.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So why don't you explain what we're doing?
I am going to.
And then I will hand you one
One
at
at a time. I'll say the category is, and you'll tell me.
No,
what
I'll
it
say
is.
the category
Yes.
is and give it to you.
All
You
right.
don't get everything,
All right,
Tom.
good.
Okay?
All right.
Make sure you keep
and
all
we'll
of this
see you
in.
next week on the Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. We've been counting down the top 10 things that made us go wow this week. Because I'm in a rush. I'm so excited.
Why are you in a rush? We don't need to be in a rush. We have all the time in the world.
The number one thing.
Number 1.
It's just happening up the street. It's real. I feel so glamorous. The aura. It's the
Today, if you're listening, is the first annual Wow Report Oscar prediction ceremony.
Here we go.
And it's just down the street. Literally, if I was straight, I could throw a ball and hit it. But I'm not. So we've done just the creme de la creme categories. And the first category is, James?
No.
What is the first category?
The first category is...
Oh, James is announcing.
I get to say that. You don't get to say that. This isn't the Tom show, okay?
The first category. Yes, keep going.
Okay.
The show must go on.
Well, now I have to wait for the damn siren to
That's
go.
your ride, bitch.
Blake, do you have the nominees? It doesn't matter.
I can pull them up.
Don't worry.
Something's going on. I think there could be some terroristic threat.
Do you want to start again or something?
No, it's too good. We'll
Okay.
just cut it out.
Tom.
Yes, James.
The category is
Yes?
Best Supporting Actress.
This was Blake, James, Fenton, and I voted, and envelope, please. You've handed it to me. The best supporting actress, according to the Wow Report, Oscars is La La Land. Allison Janney for her performance in I, Tonya.
Yay!
I don't see how she can lose. I really
She
don't.
can't.
No,
She can't.
it'd be nice if Laurie Metcalf did it because she was fantastic. I had to disagree with you. I liked Lady Bird.
It's a lock.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a lock. It's hers.
Yeah, I think so.
On that we all agree.
voted for Laurie Metcalf because out of sentimental reasons, I thought she's...
Yeah, no, I mean, I would like Laurie to win, but it's Allison's
All right.
for the
Okay.
win.
All right.
The category is Best Supporting Actor.
I didn't see that coming. All right. Again, according the Wow Report winner of the Oscars Best Supporting Actor is, drum roll please. Is it a tie?
We can't. How
It's
can
a
we have a
tie.
tie? There's four. Oh, there's four of
There's
us.
four of us. Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Montana. Applause. And Christopher Plummer, All the Money in the World.
It has to be Christopher Plummer.
No. It's going to be Willem Dafoe. If there's a tie, it goes to Willem Dafoe, who's a favorite. Christopher Plummer didn't have he really couldn't have.
He's not dead. He's gonna win.
Yeah, we voted for Christopher Plummer. Suck it.
But that was the Kevin Spacey one, which has a lot of bad feelings about it. Anyway,
But
if
he's
you
Yeah,
the
but he
hero
came in and did it. Yeah.
but he didn't do a good enough job. I think it's Sam Rockwell's for the win. I really do.
It was a tie.
It's Sam Rockwell,
And-
but I believe that William Dafoe might be.
And much like
spoiler.
President Trump, James has trouble accepting election results. All right, let's go on. What's the next category?
We will come back to that because I will remind you.
We
of
need an
this.
after show or something.
And the category is Best Actor.
Best actor, so soon in the broadcast. The Wow
Feels like
winner
we're
of the
6
Oscar
hours
for Best
in.
Actor is Daniel Kaluuya. Get out!
God.
Yay! I hope.
contrarian James.
What do you think? You didn't vote for him.
James.
No. It's
James is like Moonlight.
No. Wait, what are the nominees?
Blake has the nominees. I don't have that kind of good
Timothy Chalamet,
memory. Right?
Daniel Day-Lewis,
It's going to be Gary Oldman for
Gary Oldman,
Yeah.
Denzel
It's
Washington,
totally Gary
and
Oldman
Danielle
for the win.
Kaluuya.
Well,
I think you have to consider where they are in their career and what the sort of public sentiment is. Get Out is like...
No, I agree that
In the
Get Out
Jumpyverse-
should win. The guy from Get Out should win. But I think Gary Oldman doing Winston Churchill is something the
Do you
Academy.
think the
on this
Academy is
show-
racist?
What?
Do you think the Academy is racist?
No, I don't. I think that they're I don't think Oscar so white is a thing this year.
Not anymore, right?
Right. But I would like
That
for
was
him.
last
I would
year.
like Get Out to win everything, but I have a feeling that the Oscar is going to go to Gary
Okay.
All right. What?
or Daniel, who is giving up acting.
I don't know why we voted. Let's go on.
Best actress.
Best Actress, again, so exciting, coveted, don't go away. The Wow Report winner of Best Actress for the Oscars is Margot Robbie, I, Tonya.
See, I don't think that one either.
Just go on.
Well, this isn't so much an Oscar pool. We're not bidding for money. We're just putting our sentiment out there. You voted for who? For Frances McDormand.
Yes, Frances
No,
McDormand.
right.
Yeah,
I'm upset.
I
I'm looking for
haven't
an
seen
upset.
it, but I just think that no. But I'm just saying that she's winning all
Yes,
the
you're-
awards.
you're-
She's winning the Director
yes.
Guild. She's winning the Screen Actors Guild. She's winning the
Yeah,
Golden
I
Globes.
think you're right. I think if Alison Janney wins the supporting actress,
Then
she
then-
can't win.
Yeah.
Just in the, I think I just.
I got to tell you, these
And
have
I don't
never
think
been
Margot
wrong.
Robbie is where she is in her career that she's going to get a Best
These have
Actress.
never-
exactly,
our
exactly.
predictions-
The feeling is more's to come from her, right?
Yeah.
The Friday before the
like
Oscars.
Timothy Chalamet.
The Friday before the Oscars, our predictions had never been wrong.
Yeah. No. Well, how are we getting on?
Best Director.
Oh, okay.
Quickly. We voted. We said the winner is Jordan Peele, Get Out.
Oh, I think it's Guillermo. I
Yay.
think it's Shape of Water.
Probably. And the last but not least, the best film. Oh my God, you guys have been waiting all show for this one.
Right.
La La Land. According to our voting for the Oscar for Best Picture, we said Get Out.
Yay.
Get Out sweeps here.
I-
sweeps.
Yeah,
James,
we will
this
talk
is
next
apparently
week.
nobody took anything I said into any
no, because
consideration
this
at
was
all.
who we wanted to win, not.
But I don't want. I mean, I want Get Out to win, but I don't think it will.
Well, that's not what we were voting for.
Resistor of
I
the
thought
week.
we were voting what we thought was going to
Resistor of the
win.
week is this week Monica Lewinsky. Actually, you know what? It's also 20 years ago. Ray of Light and the Monica Lewinsky scandal. You know, Monica has written the most amazing, wise, compassionate, moving piece in Vanity Fair. I mean, it blows away anything she's said or written or done
And she's
before.
done a lot of really fantastic
It is.
stuff.
She has. And, you know, years ago, Randy and I made a film about Monica in black and white, that really presented this other side of Monica, but I don't think people were ready to hear it or see it. This was before 9/11, before the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, before the Bush-Gore, whatever that hanging Chad vote was, basically before the country was plunged into endless chaos, misery, and resentment.
But right now is the Me Too movement, and this
Yes.
this is her time right now.
Well, she correctly identifies that, you know, her trauma has, in a way, is a microcosm, and I'm quoting here, a microcosm of a larger national one. And she really identifies this turning point, I believe, this turning point in history. And Monica was almost the outlier or the first victim of the sort of what had subsequently been identified and recognized as Me Too. Because remember, when Monica was in the public eye, she was, what is the word?
Slut shamed.
Vilified.
humiliated.
Vilified. yes.
No one believed, it's extraordinary.
She was the first victim of cyberbullying.
And what motivates this article is the article starts off with a jaw-dropping moment. Monica is with her family at some event in New York, and she's like, "That man in the hat, why do I recognize him?" It was Kenneth Starr.
Bum, bum, bum.
She walked up to him, which I also find, she'd never met him, and introduced herself. And rightly, she wasn't, I mean, amazing, because I'd walked up to him, punched him in the balls, or strangled him. She did hope for an apology, but he just said, yes, it was unfortunate, or something. She said his manner was somewhat sort of between avuncular and creepy, which I thought was rather perfect phrasing. And
Look up avuncular.
you guys just have to read this article.
All right.
It's truly amazing, and it actually made me cry.
One last resistor, just because it's kind of just happened. Dick's Sporting Good announces no longer selling assault
Guns,
rifles.
Yeah.
And World of Wonder is not using FedEx.
Yes, World of Wonder. Thank you, Fenton.
And there have
Randy.
been a lot of companies that have severed ties with,
NRA
So
perks.
all the companies, we got to give them all props.
Yes.
All right.
Well, that's all we have time for today. What an amazing packed show. Streaming now. Watch Alternative, following a year in the life of native clothing designer Bethany Yellowtail.
I did an interview with Bethany yesterday, so
She's
look for that on the
amazing.
Wow Report.
Okay. On Indie Lens Storycast on YouTube.
Okay.
Trixie and Katja, Wednesdays 10:30. Viceland.
Now co-starring the fabulous Bob the Drag
my
Queen.
God,
Filling
that's
in for
right.
Katja's taking a little break.
RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars Season 3, Thursday, 8 p.m. VH1.
Getting down to
And
the
then-
finale.
Right after that, Season 10, March 22nd.
Like a week later.
And then if you want a little in-person experience, go to Drag Con in LA.
Coming up.
May 11th to 13th. If you can't get to LA, we just announced Drag Con New York.
Shut up.
September 28th to 30th. Well, I think that's enough.
Yes, enough plugging.
Thanks for tuning into the Wow Report on Radio Andy SiriusXM. Listen anytime on the Sirius Radio app or watch us, because actually this one's worth watching, on the Wow Report. See you same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow!